Mike Rader here. We're starting out the World War Hulk read-along with a little bit of a twist. I'm gonna throw a bonus feature at you. We have not necessarily part of the read because it doesn't get collected into the regular trade or anything, but it's a good read nonetheless. It's the World War Hulk Prologue. I'm kind of throwing this out there because we had a little debacle here for this read-along because of the Saga issue. We don't really need to get too much into that. We all know what happened, so just kind of wanted to say thanks for sticking around. Hope this is a little bit of a bonus and makes up it's a sorry for it. So to get into it, this is written by Peter David, has multiple writers, Lee Weeks, and Sean Phillips for the artist there. Lee Weeks, love Lee Weeks. He is a great Hulk too. The cover is JR, not my favorite. You're going to hear that probably a lot when you get to the main story. This is the first printing. There was a second printing as well. But this is just the first. So this takes off right after Planet Hulk. They've left the world of Sakaar and they're coming to Earth in the stone ship. So it's actually really good. Really good read, so I recommend finding it if you at least if you like this. So we start out with a space scene, almost not unlike Star Wars. If you remember correctly, you have, as the title sequence goes up, all the stars are coming at you, then all of a sudden you just get that a view from over your head coming down of the always of a Imperial cruiser. So awesome. Kind of the same idea here. So you'll see it as we go, as it comes in, and I'll read this here. There's another ship coming in. They're like space pirates, scavengers, and they're like, this is easy pickings. We can't wait to take on this little ship and scavenge what we can. And it says, they assumed they were invincible. They assumed that the green giant, perched immobile on the bow of the ship, was some sort of statue. They assumed wrong. And that's the second page. It's a splash page already of Hulk tearing up some aliens. So Hulk just rips through these aliens and like, there's no air and space, so he didn't ask them their names. He didn't care at all. He wades through with a sword he does not need. He is the Eye of Anger, the World Breaker, the Green Scar, Two Hands, Harkonnen, Harg, Hulku. He is the Hulk. So he had all those names he was given on the planet Sakaar. Everybody had a different name they called them. A lot of times you'll hear them throughout the thing here. Through this read and through World War Hulk. I think maybe a little bit more even in Planet Hulk. We heard a lot of those names, but not as much. So the thing is, he's actually just so angry. Hulk is so angry because he is imagining his true enemy. He doesn't even see what they are. His true enemy actually is the Illuminati, and if you didn't read the preface to Planet Hulk, you wouldn't really know who the Illuminati is. It may have popped into Planet Hulk and stuff like that, but the Illuminati consists of Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, and Black Bolt. So he's just tearing them apart, just ripping these guys to shreds, imagining they're the Hulk. Or not the Hulk. The Hulk is imagining these other Marvel heroes from Earth. He's choking out Black Bolt at one point, just freaking out because his rage. Because these heroes in his mind took away everything from him: his planet, his queen, his unborn child. Yes, the Hulk was expecting a child with Sierra the Old Strong. She was a guard of his. She became a lover, a queen. They ended up having a child. But he's actually, in fact, choking out one of his warbound. Now, the warbound are his warriors that he got to aid him from Planet Hulk. And the one he's choking out is the Brood of No Name. She is unhived, so there's no one to be her group with because they're a parasitic space bug that flies around in groups. So there's no unhived is what she is. So, no, that's Meek the Unhived. She's just Brood, the No Name. Sorry, getting a little mixed up because there's two space bugs. Then his friend Korg, who looks much kind of like the Thing, he is a rock band. He actually appeared, their species appeared in Thor originally. So he finally comes to his senses because it says here that at a given time the human uses an average of 10% of the brain, sometimes more, often less. It's very seldom we do much more than 10%. The Hulk was only using about 4% of his brain, so it was just pure rage. Finally, the last 6% kicked back in, and he realized who he was, what was going on. So we kind of pull away from the space scene, and now we're back at an apartment. And this is not necessarily, in my opinion, a clear version of her, because this is supposed to be Jen Walters, but I never knew Jen Walters to have red hair-ish, reddish orange hair. She has solid brown hair. And she's talking to Doc Samson. Doc is there to try to get Jen to talk to her about what's going on. Maybe even to just get her to calm down or something. But she's been shot up, we find out through this conversation, with nanites that control her She-Hulk power by Tony Stark. Because he's controlling everything at this point. He's the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony Stark at this point was like the real deal. He was running like everything, and he was a little sketchy at best. I believe this was right around the time when his movie came out, so I think maybe they were pushing Stark, or he just came out, so there was an influx of Iron Man, so we got a lot of Tony Stark taking over. As we see things flood when the movies come. So that's kind of what happened. She's not listening to Leonard. She just wants nothing to do with him. So they wanted to get Amadeus Cho. Cho is he's the 7th smartest person in the world. And S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to capture him. So she says, listen, you don't know what you're up to. S.H.I.E.L.D. is using you. And he says, well, that kid's dangerous. So, and then Jen's like, I'm just going to call the front desk, report you for trespassing, and get you out of here. And he said, yeah, they let me in after I showed them my S.H.I.E.L.D. credentials, essentially, and what's going on. So we leave them. Maybe they're going to kind of come to an understanding. We come back, and the Warbound are talking. They're talking about how the Hulk was out of control. And Korg says, I've seen this. It's like a battle rage. And he's like, they were a danger. And he says, to their companions and to themselves. No one's really liking this, but one of my favorite of the Warbound, I think my favorite character of the Warbound is Hiroam. I love this guy. He's a Shadow Priest. I just loved him right away. He kind of reminds me of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of who it is, but if he gets on Kung Fu, the master on Kung Fu, maybe the Locust style or something. I mean, he's obviously like ripped, but if you get down here to the bottom, we can see his face. I don't know, I think he kind of reminds me of that for some reason. But I've always loved this guy. This was the dude that was just, I don't know, because it's funny because I'm like a total smashing, demolished guy. But Hiroam always struck me as a great guy. So he goes to confront Hulk. We need to talk later, says Hulk. Nope, now, nope. And Hulk, they kind of go back and forth a little bit. Hiroam's pretty awesome. He stops the Hulk sword. So they decide to have a discussion. He finally decides to listen to him because Hiroam does something he respects, which is, a physical display. So, it's early, guys. Here, I'm giving you a little bonus right early in the morning. So he says, you nearly killed the Brood. And he's like, yeah, but I didn't. Do you want an apology or something? And so they kind of discuss what's happening. He says, you're launching an attack. Do you know why? Do you know your enemies? He's like, oh, I know them. He's like, yeah, but you know them in your heart. You need to know them in your head. And he's like, let's control this and focus this. So he's like, so that way you can destroy them all. And then Hulk says, I like that part. I think that's a great face right there. Right there. Love that, man. That's just... Love this book. Love it. So now we get back to, again, this is kind of flipping back and forth, two scenes. Different artists too here. We're back to Jen and Doc Samson. She's saying that the Hulk, she's declaring, it is casus belli, which is Latin for in Latin, the incident that precedes a reason for going to war. So she says that them sending the Hulk to space is casus belli, and when he comes back, he'll have every right to enact vengeance upon them even more, because they declared war on him by sending the Hulk into space, the Illuminati. And so then Leonard's like, when he gets back, he's like, no, but let's just do this. He declared war on everybody else first, if you really want to get into it. He says that they attacked the Hulk first. The Hulk attacked. Jen insists that everyone attack him. He says upon the first meeting of like the Fantastic Four, Hulk attacked. Hulk attacked the Fantastic Four. Banner willingly turned into Hulk and attacked him. And I love this. This is the great looking Lee Weeks page right here. Look at that. Gonna go to a fight with the Thing. Classic battle right there. Great little Lee Weeks page too. Beautiful stuff. So now we get the flip side. It's like gonna be like a couple pages each way or so, maybe 2 for them or something like that, and 4 here. But Hulk and Hiromu are talking, and he says that the Fantastic Four would not leave him alone. And then when he helped them solve the problem of this spy, they just took all the credit and left him alone to be hassled by the army. And we get more great Lee Weeks art. So just read it; it's worth it. Flip back, Jen, they're talking about how Iron Man he brought in a person to help cure Banner. It didn't take, and Iron Man did everything in his power, like even almost to his personal health, to help Banner, to help Hulk. That didn't work. So we flip back, and she says, yeah, but, and then he's telling Hiromu that Stark always attacked him first, didn't respect him, called him a monster. He's like, it wasn't even the physical attacks. It's what he said. He's like, you're a menace, too dangerous to run around loose. You've had this coming for a long time. You're a brainless gargoyle. There's no telling what he's capable of. Yeah, so, again, beautiful Lee Weeks page. These remind me a lot of the great books that the Hulk smashed the Avengers. Lee Weeks did like the covers and stuff on those, and they were awesome. And I think it was all a lot of these similar characters. It was great read too. That was a good one. Maybe coming. You never know in the read-alongs. So the Hulk says like I've had a lot of teammates, and he talks about Strange a little bit. He said they're all jerks. The only one that's worth a damn has been the Silver Surfer, and you met him. He's like, that's the only guy that's worth a damn that's ever actually really cared, which is probably true because in my opinion the Silver Surfer's always too passive. I don't really like him as much, so it kind of makes sense here how that Hulk's, because he would be more befriending and not as offensive. They talk about, we flip over to Jen and Doc, and they talk about, what about Black Bolt and stuff? And he's like, well, yeah, I don't have anything about Black Bolt, and yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Why he's, what his point is. And Jen's like, well, I know for a fact, and she's like, yeah, I got nothing too. So Black Bolt's kind of this wild card, but Hulk says, no, I thought he'd be my friend because he leads a planet of monsters, and here I go, and they treat me like a monster. He's like, and he's like, he was strong, but not strong enough to defeat me, at least not with his fists. He's like, the power's in his voice, it's overwhelming, like a billion shockwaves. He's like, he's the only one that could have stopped me, and they all know it. So he's like, yeah, that's about where it sits right now. And so Hiromu says, well, maybe we can use that to our advantage. So they talk. So we flip back to Leonard and Jen, and they're discussing. So they've come to a point where they just can't agree on that the Hulk is innocent or guilty. So they kind of part ways. And she says, when he comes back, I'm tossing it out, Leonard. Casus Belli, courteous of your good friends, is going to land you all hip deep in World War Hulk. When it starts, God help you. She's like, because I certainly won't. So we end with Leonard and Jen right now. And we flip back over to the Warbound, and they're like, what happened? He's like, our first target will be Black Bolt. I love how he calls him Black Bolt instead of Black Bolt. Black and Guy Bolt again. So, I always loved that name. I thought that was a great one. It was so simplistic to what his actual hero name was, but anyway. He says, yep, we've got a course of action. We've figured everything out, Hiram says, and we are going to use him as a way to wake everybody up. The Green Scar has meditated long and hard upon the strengths and weaknesses of all our enemies, and we are heading to that as our first line of attack. And so they're kind of still questioning, and Hiram says he knows his enemies for what they are and is firm in the rightness of his actions. So then we end, the last scene we end on is the Hulk standing on the bow of the ship again, sword pointed at Earth, and here they come. And like they talk about premonitions, like, you know, with family or using more of your brain possibly. Jen sits up and she's like, oh my God, he's on his way. And then it just ends, Casus Belli. Let the war begin. So that's where we end this one. There's more to this book, but it doesn't actually contain to World War Hulk. It has this backup story about Amadeus Cho, and there's like the cartoon version that kind of talks about the Illuminati, but this, it doesn't really necessarily have any importance, too much importance. It's how Namor gets out of it, actually, because Namor just basically tells him to get bent. He doesn't think it's a good idea. Even though they've never been allies, technically, really they have, but they've always been opposing allies. He says, no way, bad idea. This is going to blow up in your face. So, I didn't touch on, for some reason I must have skipped a page in there. It talks about Doctor Strange too. At one point in the comics, if you've read Hulk in the issues, Doctor Strange sent Hulk to this crossroads, this interdimensional crossroads, to help him. And he was kind of weaker there, so he had like a hard time. He'd like go to these other worlds, and he was getting attacked by people, but he'd make his way through every time. And Jen says again, that wasn't helping. That was just making him someone else's problem. So if you're real friends, help him out. So what it boils down to is these heroes of Earth have wronged the Hulk. The Hulk is coming back, and now he's going to he's going to hurt them like they've hurt him. They've taken everything away from him. It was bad enough what they did, but once he established himself, and they took it all away. So he's coming back for them. And that's what we're going to pick up on the next video, is in World War Hulk #1. And it's coming tomorrow. So be ready, guys. Can't wait.